The newsroom was buzzing. On the screen, a headline flashed in bold red: Filipinos English under fire. A global debate ignites. News anchors leaned forward, their voices sharpened. Viewers from Manila to Boston watched as the story unfolded. A viral clip played. In it, a Harvard professor, Andrew Whitmore, declared that Filipinos do not speak real English. The words cut through the air. Social media exploded. Hashtags trended. Emotions ran high. People in the Philippines felt a jolt of anger and confusion. They'd grown up learning English. They wrote it, spoke it, and lived it. But suddenly the world was questioning their voice. The insult was not new, but this time it came from a world-famous scholar. Around kitchen tables, in jeepneys, and on university lawns, the conversation spread. Was Filipino English less real? Or was the world simply blind to its richness? The debate had begun, and everyone was watching. The accusation did not come from nowhere. For years, Filipinos had heard the phrase, "You don't speak real English." It came from foreigners. Sometimes it came from their own teachers. It came as a whisper in classrooms, at call centers, and in job interviews. Each time it left a mark. Some laughed it off. Others felt a sting of shame. It was not just about grammar or accent. It was about belonging. Was their voice somehow less valuable? Was their story less true? Young students practiced British and American accents. Some erased their own expressions, hoping to sound right. Parents corrected their children, worried they would fail abroad. But the question never left: who decides what real English is? The wound was invisible, but it ran deep. English was a tool, a key, a bridge. For millions, it was also home. And now the world was watching as this quiet pain turned into a loud debate. Andrew Whitmore was not just any scholar. He was a Harvard professor, tall and sharp-eyed, known for his books on global linguistics. He wore his authority like a well-tailored suit. When he spoke, people listened. He had traveled the world, giving lectures on language purity and authenticity. In his view, English had clear rules. It must sound a certain way. It must follow a certain path. He saw himself as a guardian of the language. At conferences, he dismissed world Englishes as charming but flawed. Filipino English, he said, was a helpful dialect, but not the real thing. His words were crisp, his tone final. Reporters scribbled notes. Scholars nodded. Few dared to challenge him. But Whitmore was about to face a world he did not know. His confidence would soon be tested, not in a classroom, but in the streets and hearts of Manila. The conference hall in Geneva was grand and cold. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling. Scholars from every continent filled the seats. At the center, Professor Whitmore stood behind a polished podium. He cleared his throat and began. "Let us be clear," he said. "Not all Englishes are equal." He spoke about purity. He spoke about history. Then he paused and looked straight into the cameras. "Filipinos," he declared, "do not speak real English. They imitate, they adapt, but it is not authentic." The room grew quiet. Some nodded, others frowned. His words spread quickly. Journalists tweeted, academics whispered. In the Philippines, people watched in disbelief. Was this arrogance, or was it ignorance? Outside, the snow fell silently. Inside, the damage was done. Whitmore's claim would travel farther than he had ever imagined. Whitmore's comments did not fade. They echoed across the world. Filipino professors wrote open letters. Students posted videos of themselves speaking English. The debate grew louder. Soon, Harvard felt the heat. The university received thousands of emails demanding a response. News outlets asked for interviews. Whitmore's words were now a challenge, not just an opinion. He was invited to Manila to see for himself. At first, he hesitated. Then, perhaps out of pride, he accepted. He packed his books and notes. He prepared for debates and lectures. But he was not ready for what awaited him. The journey was long. As his plane landed in Manila, the city lights blinked below. He felt a strange mix of excitement and dread. The air was warm and heavy. A crowd of reporters waited. This was no ordinary trip. For Whitmore, It would be a lesson in humility. Whitmore stepped out of the airport into a sea of noise and color. He flagged a taxi. The driver, a man in his 50s named Mang Tonyo, greeted him with a smile. "Good morning, sir. Where to?" Whitmore gave his hotel address. The car moved through Manila's traffic. Mang Tonyo started a conversation. His English was clear, full of local flavor. He talked about politics, weather, and basketball. He sprinkled in jokes and idioms. At first, Whitmore listened with a scholar's ear. He noted the accent, the unique phrases. But soon, he found himself laughing. Mang Tonyo's words painted pictures. He switched from English to Tagalog and back, with ease. Whitmore realized he was not just being understood. He was being engaged, challenged, entertained. By the end of the ride, Whitmore felt something shift. "Thank you, sir," he said quietly. Mang Tonyo grinned. "Anytime, Professor. English is just another way to make friends." At his hotel, Whitmore met the staff. They greeted him in perfect English. The concierge discussed art and history. The bellhop recommended local dishes, using words Whitmore had never heard, yet every sentence made sense. Later, in a bustling cafe near a university, Whitmore watched a group of students. They debated climate change, switching between English and Filipino. Their arguments were sharp, their vocabulary rich. They disagreed, laughed, and quoted poets from around the world. He ordered coffee. The barista, a young woman named Lila, chatted with him about literature. She quoted Shakespeare and Maya Angelou. "English is alive here," she said. "We make it our own." At a crowded market, a vendor named Aling Marites sold fruits in 3 languages, English, Tagalog, and Cebuano. She joked with tourists, explained prices, and told stories. Whitmore watched as she moved between tongues, never missing a beat. Each encounter chipped away at Whitmore's old beliefs. He lay awake at night, replaying conversations, the taxi driver's humor, the students' debates, the vendor's quick wit. They echoed in his mind. He began to question his own certainty. Was real English just an accent? Was it a set of rules or a living, breathing tool? He saw pride in the way Filipinos used English. It was not imitation, it was creation. One evening, he returned to the cafe. The students invited him to join their debate. At first he stumbled. Then he found himself swept up in their rhythm. They listened, challenged, and welcomed him. For the first time, Whitmore felt what it meant to belong to a language, not just own it. Tears stung his eyes. He realized he had been wrong. The power of a language was not in its rules, but in its reach, its ability to connect, to move, to create new worlds. The final scene was back at a university auditorium. Hundreds filled the seats, cameras rolled. Whitmore stood at the podium, his voice shaking. "I came here with certainty," he began. "I thought I knew what real English was. I was wrong." He told the story of Mang Tonyo, the students, and Aling Marites. He spoke of their fluency, their creativity, their pride. "Filipinos," he said, "speak English not only fluently, but beautifully, more fluently than many native speakers I have met." The crowd erupted in applause. Some wiped away tears. Whitmore's face was open, honest. "Language is not about purity," he said. "It's about connection. And here I have found English alive in ways I never imagined." As Whitmore stepped away from the podium, the world watched. The debate was not over, but something had changed. A wound had been seen, and, for a moment, healed by truth.